For centuries, people from all around the world have reported strange and unusual sightings of creatures that many believe only belong in fairy tales. Though there are thousands of different types of these creatures, also known as cryptids, ranging from Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster, to the Jersey Devil, and the more popular West Virginia Mothman. Today, I want to focus on a cryptid that many haven't heard of before, the elusive Texas T-Rex. On October 7th, 2013, a popular blog and website by the name of Phantoms and Monsters that now has over 27 million page visits posted an article titled Dinosaurs Run Amok in South Texas Town. In this post, the author, Lon Strickler, posts an email he received from a person that went by the initials MR, located in Hebronville, Texas. Hello, Lon. A couple months ago in the summer, my friend actually saw a small dinosaur here in town on the main street. It was evening when she saw it, probably around 8:45 p.m. She was driving and noticed a dinosaur across the street. She saw the shape clearly as it passed the headlights of another car on the opposite side. She said oddly that the other car didn't seem to notice as the creature passed. She tried to call me, but her phone was out of minutes. The email goes on to explain another instance where this MR had what they believe to be another encounter with the T-Rex a couple months prior, claiming to have heard the screech of what they can only describe as a dinosaur outside their window at about 2 a.m. The email reads, "Just a couple months before, I had actually heard a creature that I could only describe as a dinosaur. I had been asleep. It was night, maybe around 1 or 2 a.m. I had awoken at just the moment I heard an unfamiliar screech of something running by my window. We have an AC unit in the window, so the window is basically open. I heard its footsteps as it ran by, and it was heavy, whatever it was. I could hear it clearly on the ground as it ran further away. I could hear it screech again. It was like nothing I've ever heard. It was loud too, and I wonder if anyone else heard it or saw it. This got my attention, and I started to question what a T-Rex would actually sound like. Although movies like Jurassic Park depict these animals to have a very loud roar, consequently instilling fear in anyone that might encounter one. I wondered how much of this was actually just Hollywood fluff. Did scientists know what a T-Rex actually sounded like? Digging into this further, a YouTube channel by the name of Dangerville posted a video in 2017 that covers this exact topic, and I thought it gave great insight into what the T-Rex may have sounded like. Let's take a listen.
For years, we've speculated what the Tyrannosaurus would have sounded like, using animal sounds to try and replicate it. The howls of wolves, roars of tigers, and the trumpeting of elephants. These sounds have resonated with us throughout history and informed us on whether something's big, small, or threatening. But have we been looking at it all wrong? Well, to find out, we have to look towards the state of Texas. Professors at the University of Texas have been researching on what the T-Rex would have sounded like, and instead of looking at modern-day mammals for research, they've been looking at birds and alligators, close relatives to the dinosaurs. And they say that the T-Rex wouldn't have roared at all, but instead it would have made a sound that's less loud and much more unsettling. They found this out by scanning the brain case of a Tyrannosaurus fossil, which contained outlines of the hearing organs. It turns out that the T-Rex had extremely sensitive hearing organs, and it was especially good at picking up low-frequency sounds, even lower than most humans can even hear. And it wouldn't just have been heard, it would have been felt. They stated that the T-Rex would have sounded something like the Jaws theme. Using audio editing software, I've replicated what the T-Rex would have sounded like, and for the first time in 66 million years, you're about to hear the distinct sound of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And it would have sounded something like this. The T-Rex wouldn't have the need to open its mouth thanks to closed mouth vocalization. This is common amongst birds and reptiles, and the noise would have travelled through vibrations. This sound would not only be the most terrifying noise you would have heard, but also felt, as it vibrated through your spine, getting louder and louder as it drew closer.
Now, the T-Rex that has been reported would have been much smaller than the one we commonly know from popular movies and TV shows. But still, what MR thought was a T-Rex outside their window most likely wouldn't have made a screech, as they mentioned. Instead, a much deeper tone. After people started reading this post, Lon's blog started gaining attention, fueling more emails of reported sightings. October 9th, 2013. Just 2 days after the initial blog post, Lon gives an update to his followers with a post titled, "Small T-Rex Reported in South Texas." Hello. I noticed your article about small dinosaurs in Hebronville, Texas. This witness was not exaggerating, because I have seen the unknown animal in a field here in Hebronville. It was April 2011. I was walking along West David Street to my friend's house on Rondada Road at about 5:45 p.m. I had just gotten off work. On the side of the road where I was walking, I saw dust being kicked up into the air, moving along the field. Then the trail of dust was heading toward the road in front of me. I stopped walking, not knowing what may be exiting at the road. About 40 feet in front of me was what I can only describe as a little T-Rex dinosaur, about 2 to 2.5 feet in height. It didn't stop running as it dashed across the road into a smaller field. It was light, reddish brown, stood on 2 legs, and had a long tail that was straight out as it ran. There's no way this was a lizard known to live here. It looked very much like the photo of the toy I found online. Another email sent by a man that goes by the initials LM had this to say. I live near Falfurrias, Texas, which is about 18 miles east of Hebronville. I and others have seen those creatures. My neighbor and I saw a pair of these creatures in December of 2012 on the roadway behind our houses. We were scared to report our sighting. I know other people in this area have seen the same creatures. A family member from Mexico told me last time he visited he saw a big lizard. He saw it while he was driving near McAllen, Texas, and described the same thing that we have seen. It was 2 to 3 feet tall, with a large head and a long tail. It ran on 2 legs and was very dark in color. The 2 creatures we saw were dark brown and walking quickly on 2 legs. It was about 4:30 p.m. and we watched them for about 20 seconds as they moved towards the dead end of the road. We got a very good look. For a few nights after that, we heard short shrills coming from the brush at the end of the road. A couple of weeks later, my son told me that he and his friends found many quail feathers and deer bones scattered by a tree in the same brush. I did contact the wildlife authority about the remains, but didn't mention what we had seen. He said that it was probably coyotes, though I have not heard or seen coyotes for a long time. Another neighbor lost a dog about the same time. Again, coyotes were said to be the predator. No remains were ever found. My husband was alarmed and had a high, heavy-duty steel-link fence built around the yard so that our grandchildren and pets are safe. I started questioning whether any of this could possibly be real. At first glance, it's hard to believe, especially coming from only one source, being this blog called Phantoms and Monsters, that gains its popularity only on reports like this, driving me to believe this could all be made up just to stir the pot and potentially gain new readers' attention. However, digging deeper, I found a transcription of a call made on Coast to Coast AM on October 26, 2014, where a caller by the name Dan had this to say. I remember seeing this thing. It was probably about 2 feet high. It stood on its back legs. It didn't have like fingers or what you'd normally see a T-Rex in the movies with 3 or 4 fingers. It only had 1 claw. Now I remember, we were running our motorcycles around and scared it off. I just assumed it was some weird, lizard, but I remember it was 2.5 feet high when it stood up. The only thing I could say is it did look like a T-Rex. Finding other accounts from sources beyond the blog site lends more credibility to the legend. This seems to be the extent of reports of a 2 to 3 foot T-Rex. However, there are many reports of a 5 to 7 foot one near the same area. From the site Frontiers of Zoology, there is another report of an apparent mini T-Rex from an unidentified witness who was interviewed about it by a site contributor, Philip O'Donnell. The witness says he saw it in southeast Texas and described the creature as a baby T-Rex, of which he had this to say. I saw something that really changed how I view dinosaurs. I saw a baby Tyrannosaurus Rex. It looked like a baby anyway. I thought maybe a raptor, but no, its head was too wide. It was forest green with an iridescent look, much like oil. I saw it from about 50 feet away as it was sunning itself in the last rays of the sun. It was sitting and even looked at me. I could even see the reptilian lips above the teeth. There could be many different explanations for this phenomenon, from misidentification to a straight-up hoax. One thing to note is if a creature like this did exist, it would have to have a large source of food to sustain its well-being. Many in the area attribute the countless missing animals from local farms to this creature, and that could be the case. However, bones have yet to be found of a miniature T-Rex, leading to large speculation on the creature. I suspect more to develop on this story, but nonetheless, if you find yourself driving down the dark roads in South Texas, keep an eye out. You never know what may be lurking in the shadows.